Hello, Magic players and collectors. Welcome back to the Land Library. I'm your librarian, and it's finally time to go over another deck. It has been quite a while since I did the last one with Landfall, and today I've got my Deserts deck. Here's my commander, Azazan, and let's get into it. Alright, so starting off with the commander. The commander is Hazazan, Shaper of Sand. Costs 1 Naya to play, so relatively cheap. Has Desert Walk, which I don't think would really be relevant in most cases, but, it's there. But the big things is I can play deserts from my graveyard, and I create two, tokens. These, red, green, white sand warrior creature tokens every time I play a desert. And especially since I can play deserts from my graveyard, and deserts like to sacrifice, I can make a lot of tokens. So this deck is very desert and token based. Also want to show off these lovely land looking sleeves. I didn't really find one that was good for a desert, but this was like the closest I could get. So next up I've got a couple of planeswalkers. They're both Elspeth, but one is a D, one is the Miku one. But yeah, this Elspeth doubles tokens and can create more tokens. This one can also create tokens and can destroy everything except lands and tokens, which is a huge part of this deck anyway. Can also gain a lot of life because I can make a lot of tokens. So have a couple of nice planeswalkers in there. And then for creatures, starting off the creatures, there's a bunch of stuff that interacts with deserts. Like this guy can do damage if I have a desert, on the battlefield or in my graveyard. This gets 1/1s for deserts in battlefield and graveyard. This one, the spell it itself costs 1 less for each land in my graveyard, and can do more stuff with deserts. Whenever a desert is put into your graveyard, create a 4/2 green plant warrior creature token. So I can make tokens off of sending deserts to the graveyard and by playing them. So yeah, this guy does. What does he do? He searches for a basic land or a desert. As long as I control a desert, or there's one in my graveyard, it gets 1/0 and trample. I think you get the idea. A lot of these just interact with deserts. Dune Chanter, though. Dune Chanter is a little bit more important because it makes all of my lands into deserts, regardless of what zone they are. Because it's just deserts you own that aren't on the battlefield are desert, or lands you own that aren't on the battlefield are deserts, in addition to their other types. So as long as he's out, everything's a desert, and everything starts comboing with deserts. So this guy's really important. I also have this guy who can make more of the same tokens that the commander makes. They both make the same 1/1 red, green, white sand warrior tokens. At Tarantula costs 1 less if I control a desert. It would be nice if it was 1 less for each desert, but Azusa, also a Miku one. Hey, I bought the Miku cards, I might as well be using them. Ramanap Excavator lets me play my lands from graveyard because, there are definitely combos, but he can only play deserts if, Dune Caller isn't out, then my, basics in my graveyard uh, aren't deserts. Or, if Dune Chanter dies, or if Hazasan dies. I just have backup options to be able to, play things out of my graveyard, because that's a really big part of this deck. This guy he's just kind of there because he gets buffed by number of creatures, and if I'm making a ton of tokens, might as well. He's not especially desert themed. He's just I had to I had a few spots that I just needed to populate, and he seemed like a decent option. Same with this guy. Although he does make tokens, so he's a little more in tune with the deck. This guy combos with warriors, which is the same thing that like the main token is. This guy is there to like potentially sacrifice some deserts for me, especially since I can easily get deserts back. Sacrificing deserts is kind of big. Like that one guy can do stuff when deserts go to the graveyard, and so being able to sacrifice deserts whenever is good. He's also just a really big creature, so this guy is kind of involved, but he's more of a backup option than like a main component. And this is another way to sacrifice a few deserts. This guy makes tokens whenever like a land goes to my graveyard. This one turns all of my tokens into flying creatures, which is pretty big because there's a lot of tokens. This guy also is another like power equal to number of creatures, and if there's a lot of tokens, he can get pretty big. This guy makes more tokens whenever I make tokens, so I was like, might as well throw him in. He's color matching, and I have a couple of these. This guy is kind of just to get out my Elspeths. Like, he more or less just exists to search out my Elspeths, but, doesn't hurt to have it. Wandering Rescuer is not especially attuned with the deck, but is just a generally good card, and I have it, so I put it in. Rubble Hulk, he gets XX equal to number of lands, which, uh, you know, might be a little better in, like, Landfall, except my Landfall is Simic, and he's Gruul, so he's over here instead. I also have this guy, who also is like a landfall and is in Gruul, so he's over in this one. There is a lot of landfall in this deck. Like, it has a lot of potential to play a lot of lands, especially since it's really easy to get deserts back out of the graveyard, so landfall can go kind of hard in this. And this guy is, I mean, he's alright. He's kind of just an extra support thing. I got him, and I pulled several of these, but extra draw. He can be cast for pretty cheap because I'll have a lot of creatures. And then here we have a creature artifact, which once again lets me play lands from my graveyard, and itself can be played from the graveyard. So then I can potentially like get him back out of the graveyard, play some lands, you know. And now into my artifacts. Seer Sundial, it's just sort of a general extra draw landfall card. Cobbled Wings, flying is nice. There's not a whole lot else to this one. Flying is nice. Um, Silver Deputy can search for a desert. World Map can search for a basic or search for a desert for more mana. Traveler's Amulet can look for another basic. And then I have all three of these crystals, one for each of the colors. It makes the spells of that color cost one less to cast. This one gives creatures haste. It can make a copy of creatures. This one adds extra 1/1s and can move around 1/1s. This one, what does it do? If I would gain life, gain twice that much life. That's not especially relevant. There was like a couple of things, like that one Elspeth could gain life. This can double that. It's mainly just there for casting cost reduction, and it does potentially give things flying, and it's just creatures you control. So there is a few things to like give things flying because pretty much none of the tokens that this deck makes are naturally flying, but flying is really nice. And then I've got some like spells, sorcery, living wish. Living wish is in here to potentially get out an extra desert, because since this is Naya, I can't use any of the deserts that have like blue or black. So there's a bunch of deserts I don't have access to, but Living Wish can grab an extra desert from outside of the game for me. Honor is just a generically kind of good card. Put a 1/1 and draw a card. This can like look for a mountain. It creates another token. Map the frontier. Can search for 2 basics or deserts. Put them on the battlefield tapped. That's very good. Scout the city. I can potentially counter flying, or I can mill 3 and put like a permanent into my hand. And especially if I mill some deserts, I can just get them back anyway. Allied reinforcements make some creature tokens. Emerge from the cocoon. Returns something to the battlefield from like my graveyard. And there are a bunch of these things that I would want to be able to return, like Dune Chanter. I don't know where it went. Dance of the Tumbleweed can get more deserts. Hour of Promise can get more deserts. And um, if like it searches for 2 land cards, any land cards, put them on the battlefield. And if I control 3 or more deserts, it also creates some tokens. So it does really well in a desert deck because it's meant to. Vengeful Regrowth, I can return cards from my graveyard, and it also creates some more warrior, makes more warrior tokens. Harrow, it's a decent way to sacrifice a desert and get more out. Well, get more lands. It searches for basics, but this one can just get me some creatures. This is just generally good, but not necessarily desert. This one is also just kind of generally good. It's very cheap and it boosts something. And, I'll most likely have 3 or more creatures most of the time, so it gets the bigger boost. This one is pretty nice. Return target creature or land from a graveyard to its owner's hand and gain 6 life. So this is another life gain option. There's not a lot, there's a few. Desert Warfare makes more of the tokens. Oath of Nissa can kind of, I was gonna say kind of search for like more deserts, but it's I can reveal a creature, land, or planeswalker from the top 3 cards of my library, put it in my hand. So it can search for more than just a desert, but it doesn't have a lot of searching power. And this is another just generally useful card. And then I have my lands. This should probably be lower down. So, bunch of basics, bunch of forests, bunch of plains. How many is that actually? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 of each basic. Seems pretty reasonable, especially with how many non-basics I'm running. I have desert. Of course I have desert. Like, if you're running a desert deck and you're not running desert, I don't know what you're doing. You gotta run desert. It also just does work well in, like, a desert deck. And I have the special guest one. And Naya Panorama, it's the tricolor for Naya. It can just search for any of those basics. Mirage Mesa is, of course, a desert, and it can make any color. It locks in. Hostile Desert can create a creature and is a desert. Lazatep Quarry, of course, is a desert. Can also sacrifice. Cradle of the Accursed is really nice. It can create some zombies by sacrificing itself, and also it is a desert. But yeah, with all the triggers, like play it, make a token, sacrifice it, make a token, and that other guy can like make another token. Play it again out of my graveyard, make more tokens. So it's pretty nice. It combos really well. Although this one combos even better because everything else that likes to sacrifice other things besides itself can target this one, and it makes 2/2 without having to actually sacrifice itself just anytime it goes to the graveyard, which is really, really useful. You can combo with this like crazy to make a lot of tokens, especially with like Elspeth doubling tokens and stuff. Like, there's so much combo potential with this one. Bristling Backwoods is Discord of dual color, desert, also deals a damage, but that's not especially relevant. Where's my other ones? Could have sorted these better. So here's the other two dual color deserts of the same cycle. Sunscorched Desert, Painted Bluffs, Survivor's Encampment, Sandstorm Verge. I should put that at the back. So I gotta go through all these deserts first. Yeah. Harriet Archway, Ramanap Ruins. This is another really nice one because it can sacrifice other deserts and then deal 2 damage. So this has a lot of combo potential because it can sacrifice other things like Dunes of the Dead to get a lot of value. Grasping Dunes, Sheffet Dunes, Scavenger Grounds, Conduit Pylons, Endless Sands, Hashtag Oasis, and then I have Thespian Stage, which can become a desert, but isn't inherently, and Deserted Temple, which is just generally a really nice land support card, because it can untap lands. So that's the desert deck. I don't know if this is really optimized. There's probably some better options, especially with a few of the just completely random stuff in here. But, I tried to make a decent deck. And I tried to add like a lot of combos. But yeah, the Dunes of the Dead is one of my biggest combo pieces. This is easily like one of the first things I would search for with any way to like search out a desert or anything. And I'm looking for Dunes of the Dead first. It's really good. But yeah, the next deck I'm planning to build is also going to be another Naya deck. It's going to be an Earthbending deck because the next set that's about to come out, the Avatar set, has Earthbending, which is an awesome mechanic that's super up my alley. And I already even have started building that one, even though I don't have any of the Earthbending cards. But it might be a while before I actually finish that and make a video, so don't hold your breath. I do also have already scheduled out through like basically the end of the year my video release schedule, so that deck will not be on the schedule for at least until January, which isn't really that far away, but I don't know when that one will come out. It might take a while to build, so we'll see, But that was my Deserts deck. Let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe give me some suggestions. I know my last couple decks, like the Gates deck, I wasn't really looking for advice or anything, but I would definitely take advice on this one. The Gates deck is just a silly nonsense deck that I like playing, but is not optimized at all. And this one, I wouldn't mind trying to optimize. So if you've got some good suggestions, if I missed something, let me know and I'll maybe throw some stuff in. And I'll see you in the next one.